Most people come to God's Pocket for the walls, epic drop-offs, vibrant sponge gardens, reefs packed so dense with life you can barely see the rock underneath. Today, we're skipping all of it, because just off the dock and in the mud, there's a completely different world waiting, and most divers overlook it completely. We're outside Port Hardy, at the top of Vancouver Island. This is God's Pocket Marine Park, and the water here does something most divers never get to see. Browning Pass sits right in the middle of it. The shape of the channel pushes fast. That water feeds everything. The walls aren't just covered in life, they're buried in it. Sponges, anemones, soft coral and colors that don't look real until you start staring straight at them. But that's not what we're diving today, because everyone else comes to God's Pocket for the epic wall dives. Almost nobody stops for the mud, and that's exactly why we're here. 3 muck dives, 3 completely different experiences. I've got a great crew with me this trip, and running the boat was Bryan, our dive charter captain. Bryan doesn't just know these waters better than almost anyone. He's also the guy who took the sea otter photo you're about to see. Sea otters used to be everywhere on this coast, and then they were hunted to extinction here, gone completely by the early 1900s. They came back through one of the biggest conservation wins BC has ever had, and now, decades later, rafts of otters are showing up again in these waters, right here north of Port Hardy. It's a sign, because if the otters are back, that means something else is happening just underneath them, and that's where we're headed first. First dive of the trip, and typically the checkout dive site for dive operators in the area. Monica's with me off the south side of Nudibranchs Island at a site called Hoodi Nudi. The name isn't random. This site is normally covered in hooded nudibranchs. But this trip, we didn't see a single one. From what we were told, the winter before hit hard. Heavy storms, and by spring, the population here had all but disappeared. Therefore, we had a choice. Turn the camera off or slow down and see what else this muck dive actually had to offer. We found sea stars everywhere, little baby and juvenile sea stars crawling all over the place. Then we found an Irish lord sitting out in the open on the mud. Normally this fish hides tucked into the reef, hiding on the wall, practically invisible, but out here it had nowhere left to go. Buried in the sediment around it, sand rose anemones, burrowing anemones, species after species submerged in the sediment. But then, out in the open, one large hermit crab. Always a good sign, always fun to film. So no hooded nudibranchs this time, but the bay's entire ecosystem was diverse and rich with life. Second dive in, the dock dive, right at God's Pocket Resort. Kristen, a marine biologist, is my buddy for this one. Locals call this site the nursery. Before we got in the water, Bryan gave us the briefing, where the no-go zone was, the general layout of the bay, and how to stay safe inside it. Bryan runs this dive more times than he can count, and it shows every time he talks through it.
So diving the bay, basically my only requirement is that you stay within the confines of the bay. I want to be able to see your bubbles at all times, basically. So the breakwater is kind of the no-go past that point. Do your giant stride off the elevator, come down here, follow the dock, you'll be able to see it, and then look for that pipe. The pipe goes all the way to the breakwater. Along that pipe, there are tons of bottles. So this used to be a place where they built boats. So there's a lot of it's a lot of stuff in the bottom. A lot of old glass bottles. Once you are done in that section, I would work my way across the bay this way. So you're just heading north, and you can end up on the rocks over here. Wall on the left on the way back. So you kind of come back to this wall on the left. Lots of big rock piles there. You can see painted greenling, lots of juvenile rockfish hidden in the rocks and stuff. There are 3 daisy chains that hold our docks in place. So you can use that as a reference to come back to the dock and then up on the elevator.
We stride off the elevator at the back of the boat and drop straight down. Maximum depth here, only about 30 feet, but shallow doesn't mean simple, even on a muck dive like this one. 3 daisy chains hold the dock in place, running north to south, anchoring the whole structure above us. Below that, a rocky wall runs along one side, and scattered across the bottom, old pipes, a bottle dump from years back, and remnants of boat building activities that once happened here, right in the bay. Therefore, what looks like junk from above tells a different story underwater. Every pipe, every bottle, every piece of forgotten debris that has become something's home. And sea anemones everywhere have attached themselves to the structures. And kelp drifting right past, and tucked against the debris, one of the most beautiful things we found all trip, a blue striped sea star. 30 feet down, a dive site most people would overlook. But slow down, and it's one of the richest nurseries in the area. But the nursery doesn't stop working once the sun goes down. One night, I headed down to the dock with my dive buddy Trent, just to see what was actually living down there once it got dark out.
Yeah, we didn't see this the other night.
There's longer ones in there, and then the little ones. There's like longer ones eating the tiny little ones, and then the rockfish.
But like that, there's
multiple species in that little swarm there.
But I don't think, like, I think this, like, what is that white thing? Is that all
It's a worm.
I think
the white thing is a worm.
it's a worm?
It's a worm. It's a type of sea worm.
I think it's like all like, I thought it was all like just the lice like making a formation down there.
No. There's the little long fries. There's like little fish fries in there, and then there's little lice in there too.
Yeah.
The fish fry are the long little things, right? And they're eating the lice, but then I think the rockfish are actually eating them, not the lice.
Yeah, but this white thing that goes like, it's like a formation of like life down there, isn't it? Or is it a rope or something?
Oh, where?
This white thing that kind of like zigzags through the water.
We never actually determined what that was, but it wasn't there in the morning when we went back on the boat. Just outside of God's Pocket, we headed out to a site called Fantasy Island, and this one wasn't supposed to be a muck dive at all. This is a high current reef, and my dive buddy and I never actually made it to the site we planned to do. The visibility that day was rough. The heavy plankton bloom had moved right through, and it was thick enough that it was easy to lose your bearings completely. We ended up on the wrong pinnacle, exploring a section of reef we never meant to dive. So here we are, a muck diving video, and this dive is only here because I mucked it up royally. But bad visibility doesn't have to ruin a dive. It just changes what kind of dive you're going to have. So instead of fighting it, we adapt. We shot macro and slowed everything down. Sometimes the conditions decide what kind of dive you're going to have. This one decided for us, and it still turned out to be one of the best dives of the trip. Next time I come here, I'll be sure to stick to the dive plan and try not to get lost. Dope! That's 3 dives in God's Pocket, and honestly, every one of them was a little different than we expected. But that's the kind of point of muck diving. You stop chasing one thing you came for and start noticing everything else that's actually there. Everyone comes to God's Pocket for the walls, and they're worth it. Every time. And the next time you're here, look down before you look up. Slow down at the site nobody talks about. That's usually where the best stuff is hiding. Thanks to Brian and the whole crew at God's Pocket for having us. And if you get a chance to do a muck dive, take it. You'll never know what you find until you slow down and look.
And we'll see you next time on BC Adventures. I think it's an urchin. Or you know, it's a crab. Snacky?
Charlie, did you forget this guy?
Probably, yeah. He's looking for it now.
Oh. You hear him crunching. Oh, yeah. Sure. You can hear him.
Oh, the otter? Oh, yeah.
He's got like 2 crabs.
I don't have my
The
glasses.
light hits him really well.
Yeah, like Karen Carter big.
It's fun watching the video.
Have my gloves, thanks, Charlie.
It's gonna get
That crab is not a bad name. 1 at a time.